Valentine's Day, everyone! Yay! It's all about the red and the saturation. That's what we're going to talk about today. And my dogs have already started to bark. They're saying hello. Welcome, welcome to the Macro Chat Live Show. This is where we talk about close-up, macro, and micro photography. And I'm so excited. Did you see AD's got the hearts going? I got a heart over here going. This is from, oh, I have to see where I'm at. There I am. This is from Sedona. There was a guy making these things. Sedona's so cool. I got, you know how we, look, I'm wearing red. And then I have my hearts that Julie, she is amazing. Where am I at? Where am I at? There I am. So these are all different colors of my grandchildren. So I got love on my arm. So hi, Becky. How are you doing? It's so nice to see you. I think I saw Todd and Catherine. They're over on the Crowdcast side. That's for the members where they can ask questions. And over here on YouTube, that's where everybody chats. I've got the chat over here going. So I'm so excited to talk to you guys today. This is really going to be a lot of fun because there's a lot of difficulties that we have when it comes to colors that are saturated. But before we get going, let's go ahead and watch this real quick video.
The Macro Chat Live Show is brought to you by SJP's membership program, a membership program for macro and landscape photographers. The membership program will work on your journey. We have monthly challenges, live calls, bonuses, and live workshops for you to attend. To see more details, head on to membership.sullivanjphotography.com. Check out our 14-day free trial.
Hey, I just noticed Laura's here. Hi, Laura. Nice to see you. And Becky, thank you so much for all the hearts. I'm really loving it. It is a fun time. AD and I were just chatting before. The hubby got me, we don't do anything, actually, to tell you the truth, when it comes to Valentine's. But I did get the one rose that you may see over here. And that is for today's show. That's what my Valentine's Day gift is. So I can photograph this beautiful rose that I did in one day and made a video for you guys in one day just for this show, because I thought, you know what? I know that there is a lot of people that have problems with red. It is a difficult color, you know, reds and yellows and all those when you get that macro lens really close up to your subject. But I just want to let you guys know before we dive into that this show, for newbies that have never been here, this show is every other Thursday. So the next show that will be coming, we'll have Steve Gettle, and I will put his website down below after the show in the area down below. Whatever, you have questions, you can ask, because Steve, you got to check out his website because it is unbelievable, and he is crazy busy just like Jackie. He also travels and has workshops and all that fun stuff, so I'm really excited to have him on the show too. I mean, if you guys did not see the show with Jackie Kramer, then you've got to check it out. It was so much fun. She's just amazing, gave us so much information on her beautiful work, and just has a great soul. I really say that the people that are on the show are awesome. We have a guest here once a month. At least that's what I'm shooting for. So it's little old me and AD, and then we have a guest during each month. So that's the plans. But today is all about Valentine's Day. So we want to dive in to those crazy problems with saturation. And not only are we going to talk about shooting, after I made this video for you guys, after that, I'm going to jump into Lightroom. I'm going to talk about the saturation issues. And then I'm also going to talk about printing saturated images, because that could be a really bummer when you send it out and it comes back and it just looks like blah. So we're going to talk about printing. Then, of course, we always have the critique, which I'm really excited about, and equipment and all that fun stuff. So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll watch the video. I will pay attention to the chat So when the video is done, I will answer any questions that you guys have and just chat around. And, it'll be exciting to actually be able to see you guys talking over there. So I love doing that. All right, AD, let's go for it.
Yes, reds are difficult. What a perfect time to talk about red and roses and deep colors. Because it's Valentine's Day, we got to play with this. This is a common problem when it comes to macro photography. The main thing that I want to share with you is over here to this side is the actual image through Cam Ranger. So here's my hand. Okay, that's live. Whoops, I just hit my composition. It's not I'm not looking for composition, we're just trying to get color now. And over to the left, or over this side, maybe to the right, I don't know, depending on when I cut this. This right here is straight. When I shoot from here, it goes to Lightroom. You can see a lot of different things happening. The reds are turning pink, and it's just not turning out very nice. And it's because the sensor is sucking in all of the red pixels, it's not really pixels, it's really the light rays that are coming in that's bouncing from this. So a lot of cameras can't handle this rich color. Hopefully in the future, maybe there's cameras out there that can do it better than my Canon, but I know there's many of you that are like me that have this problem. So I love red, rich colors, or any kind of colors. If you've seen my portfolio, I'm a color girl. Just love color. The richer, the better for me. So I have to work with this, and it's taken me some time to really get it. So let me show you what I do, and hopefully it will help you. So what I like to do first, most of the time, I like to get my stuff in camera. Okay, what I'm going to do is take a whiteboard and place it in front of the subject, and I'm going to take a photograph of it. This is the image that I took, and you can see that the histogram is a little overexposed, but that's okay. It's looking good. And I'm going to go to my menu. Right now it's under auto white balance, but I want to put it under custom white balance. I'm going to put it under custom white balance, and this is the image that I'm going to set. So I'm going to push set. It's telling me that I need to make sure this is what I want the white balance to be. I need to set it to this little dial, which I will do right now. I'm going to move it over to this, which is custom. And I'm good to go. So okay, we're set. So as I'm looking at the histogram, one thing that I am noticing is that the R red is perfect. Green and blue is very, very low. That's okay. We'll go ahead and try to get this up in the middle, and then I'll share with you what is happening. So let's move this, and we're going to, you can see here at the bottom that it's underexposed by 2 stops, and I'll go ahead and I'll leave it at f11, and I'll bump it up to 2 stops, and we'll take the shot now. So the histogram has moved the green and the blues up, but look at your reds. See how it's pointing all the way to the right? You can see that it's pointing all the way to the right. Please don't pay attention to this histogram. We are paying attention to the RGB histogram when we do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. This is way blown out of proportion. This may be very dark, but look at how nice that is. So we have to play with this in an even tone. And what I want to do now is I'm going to change it. Instead of going to 2 stops, I'll go down 1 stop, and let's see if I can get a little bit more detail in the darker areas. And I am. Now let's show you it. We'll get rid of, so you can see that it's still kind of clipping to the right, so this might be some problems in here, but we might be able to bring this down and increase the shadows is what I'm thinking. So, but let's show you. I have a little bit more details in the shadow area. It's starting to clip. I could see it. That means it's getting there's too much saturation in that color. So there's a couple ways that you could fix it. You could light it with a different gel, which is a little bit more complicated. A lot of people don't like to do that, but you can. So another thing you could do is you could play with black to tone down the light hitting the subject, see? So that really makes a big difference. So I'm taking some of the black paper and just giving it some shadow where I feel like the rich color is just going to be too much compared to the rest of the reds. So this happens with, like I said, very rich colors. It's not just red. But these are different ways for you guys to play with this. And I think this is probably, let me see, it's popping up in Lightroom right now. Yeah, I'm loving it because it has some depth. Okay, another way that I will work with color issues is in Kelvin. So I have the rose here, I've got some light, so it's on Kelvin, and then this. Now you can see blow signal goes 2500. And then if you want to get it if you get it warm, that's going to be too warm. 5500 is, we'll do 5000. 5500 is daylight. Let's see how that works. Let's look. I'm looking at the RGB. I figured it would be better just to show you in Photoshop the Kelvin. It's just so you could see it straight up in your face. So when we go over here to the right where it says 5000, this is straight from camera. I haven't done anything with this image. Please, whatever you guys do, make sure you get your composition set, everything the way you like first when you go through all this work of getting the color correct. I admit that I was in a rush trying to get this ready for you. This is the day before the show. Oh, Janice should not be procrastinating, but I didn't think about doing this until the last second, to tell you the truth. And look at how cool this is right in here. But anyways, I wanted to share with you some of the way it would look. So, of course, this also depends on what kind of lighting you have initially on the flower itself. That will depend on what type of Kelvin you would like to use. But you can usually fix your color issues by changing the Kelvin in the camera. So you can see the difference. This is 5000 and this is 2950 in your camera settings under the Kelvin. So as you get lower in the Kelvin, the image becomes bluer. But if your light source is very orange and has an orange cast on the flower, it will really help you. All right, let's get back to the program.
Oh, I'm back. So I hope you guys liked it. I have Lightroom open right now because I still want to talk about a couple things. And I noticed Jan said too that her blues come out purple sometimes, and that totally makes sense. And so the main reason why I really focused on the getting it in camera is so you can see with your eyes that you're basically blowing out those reds. And with a raw file, obviously you can maneuver everything here in the color balance. And also there is a new area. Let's see where it is. It's over here. Let's see. Oops. Cancel. So there's a new area. Let me find it. Library. Let's go to development. And it was over here. Why is it doing that? Let's go to basics. Oh, here it is. So there's a new area over here in the Adobe Color right here. If you click on this, that's brand new. You could get ideas here of what's going on with your reds, your yellows, and all that, blues, or anything that's basically saturated red. And again, just to reiterate, what's happening is you have all that one color in that sensor. And I really hope, and I'm sure that's going to happen soon, is that, the sensors will get better in time, and we won't have these problems that we do when we get up close to our subject. So I wanted to share this also just to give you ideas. But with that, there's something that happens when we saturate compared to the screen, and then we want to go print. So printing can be really problematic for sure. And if you are printing, I'm going to give you two different scenarios if you're printing yourself or you're sending out to print. So this right here is, you could see up here to the top right. Let me practice this. Brian's not here, I don't think. I wanted to tell Brian that, he suggested, and Brian, if you're watching later, I know that you had said about the mouse, making sure that the mouse, that you could see it. So I'm using something where you could at least go there, and I'll hone you into where I'm talking about. I'm going to try to remember to use that. So, as we adjust these things here, see how it just changes so fast, and, you lose the details and all that. It can be very frustrating. But remember that what's happening is that you pretend it's so bright, that it's the sunlight just hitting it. Even though, that's why I said, don't pay attention to the other histogram, pay attention to your RGB, the color histogram. And that's what it's going to show you, that it's starting to, you're starting to lose the detail. And even here, it's so much better in the camera, to tell you the truth, than right here, because this is showing that it's okay, but it really is saturated. And you could see that, there's some of the details may be difficult. So again, it's just to get you started, and then you can get into post-processing and changing things up, because that's exactly what I did. And that's how I got to this image. I really went crazy on this image, and I couldn't have done that and get the details that I have if it wasn't for if it wasn't for getting it in camera and for me to actually see what I was doing. So I want to talk to you about printing now. Of course, if you guys have questions, please ask, okay? Jan says, I like taking a picture of an item that has won a blue ribbon, and it shows the ribbon as purple. Oh, wow. Okay. So, Jan, when you're taking the picture, just to let you guys know, we're about 30 seconds to a minute delayed. So I'll look again. Yeah, that's definitely part of having the problem of, depending on the light that's actually hitting the blue and what your sensor is doing to it. So, you can go over here to this little color picker, and you can play with that too. So, you get a neutral number. Well, you could see that I have no neutral numbers in here. So it'd be really difficult to get the color that I want when it comes to, picking the right exposure. But even that doesn't always work, to tell you the truth, because otherwise we would just take a picture of a card, the gray card and stuff like that, and zap, and it would be done. Sometimes that doesn't happen that way. So that's when you play a little bit. So again, same that. Okay, yeah, we've got it all, and then we're ready to print. Now let me just show you something. We're going to go to the development module, and this is an image I'm going to talk about in a second. Okay, but I'll just go ahead and play with this one first. Oh, I did this one already. Okay, so let's see. I was playing with these. So you can see in the development module, where is it? Interesting. Hold on one second. I'm looking for, where did it go? Oh, library. let's see. I'm missing it. I'm looking for the color. Oh, let's go over here. Okay. So let's go to development and see let's push this down here where it says soft proofing. So I like to, you could do this in Photoshop, but to tell you the truth, I just feel it's so much easier to do it here. So when you push soft proofing, so here's the soft proofing, that's to say what is blown out in your gamut. Well, right there, that's telling me I got a lot of problems going on, and there's no way this thing is going to print the way I want it to print. It happens. That's just the way it is. It gets so frustrating. So what you do, you have to play. And what we're going to do is we're going to, up here to the top right, it says create a proof copy. And if you guys want me to, I can show you in Photoshop what to do also. But I think Lightroom is pretty good. So if I click on that, what it's happening is I'm making a separate file. It's just like it's not doing anything to the pixels. Just know that whatever we do here, everything's okay to your file. So you can play as with your heart desired. You're not damaging any pixels. A virtual copy. So what we're doing is we're looking at the profile here. And this is sRGB. But what I suggest that you guys do is if you're printing, if you're going to use a company, ask for their profiles, because you could see here that I have some profiles that I use. And say if I wanted to use, I think this is MPix. I can't remember, to tell you the truth. I'm pretty sure that's MPix. But that right there is telling me I'm still having problems if I wanted to print a satin. So here's luster, I'm still having problems, and here's gloss. So I have to fix this. And like I say, it could be really, really difficult. So one thing that I do is I go back into, I'm leaving this here so I can see what's happening. Make sure this right here is checked at the top right so you know that what's blowing out when it comes to printing. And then what I'll do is I will go into HSL. That's my go-to for this, to tell you the truth. This is what I do most of the time. So sometimes what I'll do is I may change the hue just a tad. You can see that it's helping it. And then I'll go slowly back and forth. Maybe saturation, it's getting better. But I will go back and forth and I will play with this and see what I could do to match it up. And it takes me a while, okay? So I already did this. And here is, I did a luster. And here, okay, so here is the TIFF the way it was. And I'm just not, because this is a show that's only an hour, I can't be, I just want you to know that I have done this. And you could see here at the bottom, let me click on it. You could see here at the bottom, sheesh, every time I go over there, it says here, Epson metallic. Oh, that's Epson. I was doing it in Epson, sorry. And so I'll show, that's actually a paper. So if I went printing from my paper, here it is. So here's Epson's metallic. That's one of my favorite papers that I like to print from. And that's what I did with this. So I went in here and I'll just do it. Let's see if I could do it really quick. Let's go to Epson. Let's see. We'll see how fast that is. Oh, it's already just popping because I already did it before. So, but I'll do another one. I'll do another one so then you guys can see what I'm talking about. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to ask for a profile from the company that you're printing. And then you then you say, okay, I want to print this, and then you're going to adjust. Most of the time you could get it by just playing very gently with your hue and saturation, but you don't want to mess things up, so you have to take things really slow. Sometimes it might just be a luminance problems right at the very tip. So I'm using the little dial right here. Let's do it so you can see it. Ay, ay, ay. So see where it's just bright right in here? This is, you might be able to just dial in just this little area right in here and just turn it down just a little bit. and you'll be able to fix the printing problems. So you can see here that I've got a little bit of issues here that I would have to work with. So this one is an image right here that you could see has some problems too. So I have to say to myself, where do I want to, am I sending it out? If I'm sending it out, then I've got to work with the company, pick out the best profile for printing, and then say to myself, okay, let's go ahead and just gently change things up. Now, sometimes it may not print. So say if you want a luster and satin is working better, well, I would, if I were you, print satin. You know, they could put a cover on top of it. You know, everything nowadays is so much different. It's not just the paper anymore. You get the paper right, and then on the top, if you want a glossy, you could do it. I mean, it's so cool nowadays when it comes to, you know, having all kinds of options to print your photographs on. So I do want to talk about perceptual and relative. So when you have the perceptual, let's see. So this one I have fixed. This one is a luster again. So let's go here and print. So if I'm going to print this, I've got this done. I went ahead, I slowly did the changes that I was telling you about. Okay, did the steps very gently, and I worked it. You have to have patience. That's the key. That's why, you know, people don't like to shoot this kind of stuff, because you have to, if you're a macro shooter, you should have patience anyways. So this should be okay for you. But what I wanted to tell you is perceptual. What that means is that if I left this gamut off like this, see how it's all kind of choppy and there's issues, it's not reading the color when it prints. So if I left it like this, what's going to happen is they will print the pixels that are close to that color. It's not going to be that color. It's going to print close to the color, because gamuts are, you know, you could have a wide gamut with more color, or like sRGB small. So you've got to, what it'll do is it'll adjust to the closest color. So it won't be perfect. I like to be perfect. So I take my time, get things right, because I'd rather have it relative, which means that it will actually take the pixels and print those pixels. If you have this and you have it on relative, what's going to happen is it's going to just be a mush. It will just look like it's blown out. So whenever you do this, you make sure that you determine which one you want to use. If you're okay with the colors not being exact, then go ahead and do perceptual. But I would be very careful not to leave a real chunk, like maybe these little spots in here. Okay, maybe that wouldn't be so bad, but I would not leave anything like this, because that's just blowing your pixels, blowing your color out. So I think that should help you. Oh, Laura says, great to see the different ways of approaching the editing, HSL and the printing info. Good stuff. Thank you so much, Laura. I totally appreciate that. Yeah, and what I like about using the HSL and using this is that I could really hone in on, sometimes I love saturation so much that I may just play with the hue just a little bit, you know, but I really, I don't like to change things up. See, like I want my saturation. I could do this, and I'll just put some music and I'll just play. So I'm bringing it up. You can see it's starting to pixelate right here, but see, I'll just maneuver it, and before you know it, I'll get what I want, and that's it. And this one was, you know, pretty, you know, it wasn't that bad of a change, and you could do it. You just have to take your time. That's the key. So the next thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is playing with, you know, there's saturated colors can be really, it's almost reminds me of black and white. And so when I play with these images, let's get out of this stuff. No more soft proofing. So when I play with these pieces and these works and stuff, of course, you know, you do what you really love. But I've seen a lot of photographs like this, and I said to myself, I'm just going to share that one photograph to Facebook, and then surprise, it's totally different. Because that's what I want you to think, because Catherine's here. Catherine's working on some stuff where she's trying to figure out different things to photograph. And so she inspired me to think about, you know, okay, I've got this image. It's okay. But what do I want? What do I love? And I like to flip it sideways and add a little bit of my fun. And this is something that's just totally fun. And it's called Flood. And it's very easy. It's a water effect. But what I suggest that you do, I will put the video down below, because the flood, if you just do what, you know, you just put flood on and just let it do its thing, then it's really not your creations. So what I'm suggesting that you do is play with stuff like this, you know, like flood. And what I do is I actually look at the negative space and start maneuvering things and playing with the darks and the lights and how things work with this plugin. So I wanted to suggest to you guys, just try things. Who cares? No, I have not seen an image like this out there. I mean, there probably is one. There's thousands of us photographing, but I don't see very many. So I just wanted to suggest to you guys to think about the saturation and think about, it's just almost like a black and white with the texture and everything like that. And if you can get those colors that you really want, I mean, you will be really happy. And the same thing, Jan, when it comes to, you know, the blues and stuff that you said that you were having, you know, definitely just try these steps that were in the video, and, you know, then working with the actual Lightroom. And then if you still have questions, Jan, go to the comments, let me know. You can even send me the image and I'll see, because sometimes what happens is when I myself am not paying attention and I'm really just shooting it, you can't get it back. You just can't get some of the details that you would love to have. It will just turn out to be, you know, just kind of crappy looking. Or it may look good, but then you're ready to print and you've got some blown out areas and you're like really pretty much screwed. You're like, I can't do it. I can't print. Or I just have to desaturate totally, which is not good. So I just want to let you know, though, to definitely ask questions. And I'm here to help you, because it is something that's really, really flustering for me and many of you guys that are out there. So I think that is pretty good. Yeah, so let me get some water. I'm getting a sore throat. I've been, I don't know if you guys heard the news, but you guys are the East Coast is going to get what we're getting right now. It's pretty crazy over here. It's flooding, and yeah, it's pretty crazy. So what I wanted to do now is, before we start to get into the critique, which I will share in a little bit, I really, really want you guys to share your images. I'm so happy that I have 2 images today. Anne and Todd have given me images, and it really does help me get the show going. The questions that you guys have and the images, when you have questions on the images, you know, send stuff. You could do it over in our Facebook group, which is there's a link down after the show's done, and on my website. So we will definitely check out your you know, your images, and everybody can learn from you. So I have, like with Jackie's last, it was interesting. I know it's pretty scary to put your images out there, but even on the last show, we had such a hard time, and it's okay, because we're all learning together, and that's what this whole show is about, to really dive into your close-up work. And I don't butcher anybody, I promise. It's all good. So again, just send them to me. So then this week we have shows, and I have something to talk about. All right, you guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to head on to critique time. Okay, so what I was going to, normally I show the big image, but with Todd's, I might just bring this down. With Todd's, I mean, I definitely need to show you guys because he's asking about printing. So one of the things that Todd had said is he wants to pick my brain about highly saturated or bold colors and printing and how to evaluate pitfalls. So the video tells you everything on my pitfalls. And if you did, like I said, if you didn't understand, then please ask me in the comments. So that will help you tremendously, Todd. And but I want to I'm going to talk about Anne's right now first, and then we'll dive into to Todd's. So let me see if he's here. Let's see. Yes, Todd is here. Hi. So this way, if I have questions, I can ask him. And Anne had told me already that she wasn't going to make it. So that's all. She's going to watch it later, which is fine, dude. We have a lot of people watching it later. So hello, all you replayers. All right, so let's see. We are going to dive into Anne's, and I will let you know that her goals. Let's see if I can put this down so you guys don't have to see everything. Let's just look at her work. I'd rather do that. Okay. So Anne says that this goal is an orchid. It is a high key shot to show the brilliant colors that spring forth from what looked to me to be quite a plain bud. So she has a high key shot, and she shot it at ISO 100. She used 6 focus stacks. She used a 50 millimeter f11 at 1/13 of a second, and she used her Sony mirrorless A6300. So she's talking about the high key, and she wants to show the brilliant colors of spring. So I love orchids, and she's talking about, I think from what I'm getting is she's talking about the bud, that she really likes the bud, which is to me nice, and it's good about growth and all that stuff. But so I wanted to, and there's a couple things. I feel orchids are absolutely gorgeous. You can't go wrong with the orchid. I wish I can keep them alive, I'll tell you. Look at how pretty. Let's go even further. Oh, I wanted to go even further. Let's see if I could do that here. I want to go into 2. This is kind of, I thought it was a little bit bigger image, but let's go to 2:1. So look at how cool that is. It's beautiful with all the colors, and I don't know. I just think orchids are gorgeous. So the bud itself, buds are really neat. I think that if you wanted the bud, I might have positioned it a little bit different, but I think this really does pop. So I like that you have went ahead and made it a high key. I do have some suggestions about popping though. So you like the brilliant colors, which is great. And this definitely represents spring and the, beauty to me. So I don't think it's plain at all. I don't know if I would ever think it's plain, because I like flowers in general. But I do want to give you some composition ideas. So when you have something like this and then the flowers down below, I feel like this is taken away from the bud. So I'm getting that you really want that bud to be like, here it is, this is the baby. It's, it's boring, but let's make it pop. And in order to make it pop, I want to go, I should be going straight there to the actual bud, but what I'm doing is I'm going down here and then going. So it's a nice flow. I like it. But I think that the bottom down in here is taking it away from the bud area. Now, if you would have told me that this was, kind of like an orchid that was flowing and you wanted it to move up, that would be a different story. That's why I asked you guys your goals, so I know what you're wanting to go with this. So I think that if you were to position this a little different and maybe had the stem, say at the bottom over here, removing or moving it, changing up your composition, so you had the bud maybe the camera over to the right more, we would be able to see the bud more prominent, and this bottom part wouldn't lead my eyes away from it. So that is my suggestion when it comes to your goal, and I hope that helps you. And what I would love for you to do is, you know, shoot again and bring it in to, she's from the professional macro photography group that I have with a couple other people. And one thing that she had said that she had submitted the image last week from Jackie Kramer, and she at first thought that all the images here on the show had to be macro, like real true one-to-one. But I told her, no, this is a close-up macro and micro. So I asked her, can I do this the following show? And she was gracious enough to say yes. So yes, you guys can send in close-up. I know it's called macro show, but you guys can send in close-up. So everything is good. Coco. She's trying to leave me. But that's all the suggestions I have with your goal. If you had any other goals that you wanted out of it, let me know, and I will help you with that. So it is brilliant colors. I probably, when you're saying about brilliant, you know what? I'll give you another tip real quick because we got a little time. So when you're saying brilliant colors like this, I think what I would do is kind of saturate this color right in here. And you can do that very easily with, actually, it's even easier if you go into Photoshop, you add a layer, you put a fill the layer, and pick one of these colors that's really pretty, like this one right here, real, you know, this purplish color. Fill it on the separate level, and then take your opacity way down. And you can remove with the mask anything that you don't want it on, but it will give it another, like a nice tint to your flower. So let me see if I could, I have not done this here, so let me see if I could do this. And AD, you've taught me this one. Or I could drag it off. And let's see if I could do this. I'm going to try to explain what I'm doing, but I don't want the flow too crazy. So what happens to a lot of this kind of happens to me with deserts. It's hard for me to see. The browns get really brown. I mean, it just gets so like dirty looking. So I'll do a before and after. So what I'm doing is painting this little flow. We'll over exaggerate. How's that? Let's see. And let's go over here. Let's do that real quick. Whoa, the bottom really popped. So let's do the before and after and see if it worked. Where are we? Before, where are we at? Okay, here we go. So you can see it, barely faint. Let's get up close so you can see it, okay? We'll go to fill. So here's the before. See how it's kind of like a dark brown? And that's just a suggestion to make things pop, because I, you know, like to make it pop. And look, do you see how it tinted it just a little bit? Just gave it a little extra color. But it's up to you. It's up to you. This is just a fun little tip that you might want to try. So there's the after. Just a little suggestion. All right, Anne. Well, thank you so much, Anne, for bringing this to me. I totally love looking at your guys' work. We're going to rock on to Todd. And Todd is working on an awesome project. Let me get over there. Okay, so here's Todd's. We will, whoa, it's really close. Get out of there. Hold on one sec. Let me get organized. Jeez. All right, come on. I'm trying to get this to, there we go. There we go. But come on, let's get out. It keeps doing a fill. Sorry, guys. Fit. There. All right. Let's bring this down. Okay. So let's talk about Todd's. All right. Now Todd is working on a portfolio and it's called Nobody's Listening. So this is part of his portfolio. Let me read this. He says he wants to check for color saturation if it's overdone and sloppiness. That will not work when printed. So he also says this photo is too long for an 8x10, and I'd like to get some suggestions on cropping it, or maybe keeping it in a non-standard frame size. And then he put question mark for thoughts. So again, so what Todd is doing now, this is a macro, and he's working really hard to try to, he's doing this, like I said, Nobody's Listening portfolio. And, you know, he's working with the subject, and it's really hard when you work with people, you know, a model, and you're trying to do macro. I'll tell you that right now. It's really difficult for them not to move and for you to get up close. So I get it's really hard. So yeah, when I went to, we'll talk about the saturation right now, Todd, because I did check it, and you do have a little bit, just only a little bit. So let's go to Develop Module. We're going to push soft proofing, and you can see right now, I'm going to create a proof so it saves everything for us, and I'll make sure I'm going to go to relative, and then I'm going to pick out a profile. So say I don't know if you print from home, Todd. If you're there, let me know. Are you printing from home, or are you going to send this out? So let's see what's the best. Satin is pretty good. But let's see, what if you want gloss? Gloss is pretty good if you wanted it like a glossy feel to it. So then what I would do, we'll go down there right now. I'm going to go to HSL, and I'm going to, first because I like saturation, I don't want to mess with saturation too, but it depends on what your goal is though. Do you want saturation, you know? So we're just going to go opposite. Let me see, because I don't want to go too far. Okay, let me see. Okay, so that's working. So let me just do something. We're going to go to before and after. So do you see how I clicked to the bottom left? Before and after, let's do that right there. Okay, and now I'm evaluating it to see what is it affecting what I want out of this image. And if it is, then I need to say to myself, well, what can I do? Do I need to change a luminance somewhere, saturation or hue? You got to manipulate it to your likings. So, so this right here, you could see where it would be blown up right in here. So then now let's talk about, you were saying about sloppiness and stuff, or color saturation. So what I want to suggest with you, let's get out of soft proofing. Okay, so we will go to, now it's ready. This can be printed if it wants. So if you're doing something like this, what I would suggest is removing stuff like this. It's okay to have highlights, you know, but like this one has blown out highlights. So Todd, you should really just get rid of certain things like that. I know that your portfolio is not about being pretty. It has nothing to do about making a beautiful lips. It's not glamorous at all, but it still should have the technical sides of, because it's a portfolio, and you really, like in here, look at all these nice highlights. But I think that just getting these little spots off, you can leave them, just, you know, just tone them down a little bit, you know, in post. And I think it would be fine. I might even remove the circles, to tell you the truth, because it's pulling my eyes. I'm assuming that she's probably sticking her tongue underneath. I'm not positive. So that's what I would suggest with you. Now let's talk about your sizing. So you wanted to know about 8 by 10, you know, that it's too long. So here's my suggestion when it comes to art, because this is pure art. This is, I mean, he's like in galleries and stuff. Like he's into that kind of stuff. So if the piece is being cut off and it is important to your artist statement, I would not crop it. But if you crop it and it is, here is an 8 by 10, and say we position, oh, battery, something's going down. My battery just, so say this is the 8 by 10 and this is it, right? So this is the 8 by 10 and it hasn't affected you. I mean, I'm not saying that's the crop you're going to do, but I'm just giving you a suggestion. So say if that's the crop and it's not damaging your artist statement, then crop it. But if it is if this part down in here, if it's important because you want these hairs in here or whatever, I don't know, then you need to not crop it, because nowadays you can print at any size. You just have to pay more, but anybody will print for you. So if that's part of your work and it's part of the actual pieces, then I would not crop. But I would crop if it's not going to affect any of the actual work. So that's my thought process. And I think I've answered it for you. And if you have questions, you can ask. So those are my thoughts. All right, you guys, I'll go back to me and see if you have any questions for me. Do any of you guys have questions? Metal Mouth does a fabulous job of printing on metal. Oh, really? Metal Mouth, I haven't heard of that. Metal's real cool too, because, if you get into, one of the things I was going to talk about the orchid is that if she was to adjust the crop that she actually has, it would have been real tight. So metal would be perfect. You don't have to frame. You don't have to worry about any, you just can go corner to corner if you want. So anyways, let's see. I answered the questions. Let's go to the equipment. What I want to show you is mine. So we're talking about saturation and color and all that stuff, right? It's all about, making sure that you get your prints done. You want everything right. Well, if your monitor is not calibrated, then you're pretty much screwed when it comes to color. I mean, we are working with really, as you could tell, it was really fine detail when I just fixed Todd's little mouth right there. I mean, every little part of the pixels really count when you're working with saturated colors. So I have an Ezio, and this is what I use. It's an Ezio that goes with my monitor. I hang it up on the monitor, and I calibrate with this. I've used ColorMunki, and I actually used to use ColorMunki to print. So they have a ColorMunki. I don't have it anymore. I was using it from a friend, but ColorMunki has one that if you have your own printer, you print and then you take the ColorMunki and then you go over the print and then it calibrates with the paper that you're using. So when it comes to my calibration, I want you guys to realize that when any type of lighting change, you have to calibrate for that. So I have a calibration in the morning. I have a calibration when I have lights on here. I have a calibration when it's nighttime, because the sun changes on in where I'm working in here. So I have all those different calibrations, and it's a luminance one also. So not only are you manipulating with the colors, but you're going to make sure that it adjusts for luminance. So make sure I will put the ColorMunki down below so you could check that out. I also wanted to share that these are just the papers. These are so important for you guys to play when you're messing with, the saturated colors, to just diffuse that and, change things up. These help me so much when it comes to really saturating your stuff. And of course, the using a white card and all that stuff to try to get it in camera, and flashing if you need maybe one side, adjusting your aperture and your exposures. Sometimes, you always say you want to bounce, you're saying, okay, I want to bounce in the darks, right? But it's oversaturating the petal or whatever else that you have, the blue ribbon. Then guess what you need to do? You need to change your exposure and bring it down, and you won't bounce. You're going to actually remove some of the light hitting it. So it's like I actually just really pay attention to what's happening to the image. If I can't bounce in like I want to, I'll make the exposure go higher, and then I will adjust where the light is hitting on the really saturated areas, and it will work. So sometimes you have to do the reverse of what we are all taught. We're all taught to just shoot, and oh, if it's bright, here, just put in just bounce in some light. But even a little bit of light flaring onto some of those saturated colors can just really screw it up. So it is a little different for sure. Another thing that I will do, but I rarely, I'm gonna admit to you guys that I do have these, but because of Calvin and stuff, I like to do the Calvin because I like to, this is like what you could do is you could shoot and then you go into Lightroom and then, pick in Lightroom how to, if you guys need, I could do a show with just you doing this next time for sure. I'll do calibration in the, oh, something went dead. Oh, I don't know if you guys can see me because it's all blue. Oh, there I am. That's funny. We want to talk about the blue saturation. I don't know. We'll see if it came in. That's funny. So those are little tips and tools that I think that will help you for sure get the whole saturation thing in control, and then you'll be able to have these beautiful colors, and you'll be able to print whatever you want, and it'll be amazing, and you'll be smiling and like I do. So do you guys have any other questions? Let's see. Oh, good. AD's helping you out with the display cal and all fun stuff. Thank you, AD. All right. So if you guys don't have any questions, we will do the get to know me and kind of wrap it up.
The Macro Chat Live Show is brought to you by SJP's membership program, a membership program for macro and landscape photographers. The membership program will work on your journey. We have monthly challenges, live calls, bonuses, and live workshops for you to attend. To see more details, head on to membership.sullivanjphotography.com. Check out our 14-day free trial.
I have to say, I absolutely love the hearts. AD, you are awesome. I went over and I looked up, I'm looking at the chat. I see the heart. I love that. It's so much fun. Very, very cool. All right, you guys, it is so awesome to hang out with you. I can't believe it's been an hour already. I really do hope this has helped because I know it's taken me years to just get this going when it comes to these saturation and printing and all that stuff. But I just wanted to say, too, that, mark your calendars because in 2 more weeks we'll have Steve Getzel, and then also, if you love it, if you love this video or this show, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. And as always, if you have questions, just ask down below. I'll see you in 2 weeks. We'll be here live to talk about close-up, macro, and micro photography. And I want you to remember that 1,000 words does make a difference. So you get out there and rock it with those saturated colors, everyone. Have a great evening. Bye.